Welcome, everyone, to the Keys to Success podcast. I am your host, Deborah Douglas, and I have my wonderful, beautiful host, Talisa Stubbs. How are you doing today, Talisa?
I feel so good. I feel blessed. I just got finished doing a PTO, like lunch appreciation for all the teachers coming back to my son's school here. And I like literally ran in the house just from serving the PTO, and I'm here. So I feel good. It was very productive today.
I love that, especially because both of us are former educators. So, isn't it so rewarding to be able to give back and just be like, I know what you're going through, and I just want to share my level of appreciation?
Literally, like while I'm there, I have this conversation with the lady, and you already know how we are. I don't know how we just end up talking about real estate, but some way or another, it just kind of just rolls off the tongue, you know? And
Seriously.
come to find out, she's got like 5 empty lots. Some big time real estate investor tried to buy them from her 2 years ago, and she told him no. And so he's built all these other new construction right around her house, but she's like, I still got 5 other lots. And she was like, and I need somebody to help me build on them. I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting on them. I'm like, girl, let's chat. So
Oh my gosh,
That's
that
awesome.
is
Where
amazing.
is that, by the way? I don't.
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. You just landed on a gold mine right there.
Seriously.
Who
And you're
That's
gonna be the one, the expert knowledge of like, let's get this from what it is today into these beautiful homes. And you'll be the expert. And she's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, I just need all your information. So that is huge. That's what's called leverage.
amazing. Yeah. So it's always important to tell people what you're doing. Don't matter where you are. Your Uber driver, PTO, tell people what you're doing because you just never know. But anyways, Deb, I'm going to give it back to you so you can introduce our amazing, beautiful guest.
Yes, yes, I am so thrilled to have Miss Andrea Wick with us today. She is a investor in the DFW Metroplex. Her and I are in the same groups and different things that we do together with investing, and so I'm super honored to have you on. Thank you so much, Andrea, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I can already tell it's going to be fun.
Yes, yes. So tell our guests, who is Andrea Swick?
Yeah, so I basically was in California. I was living my Silicon Valley corporate life in my W-2, working 60 plus hour, weeks. And me and my family said, is this really the way that God wants us to live our lives? And so my husband was also working at Apple, and he was managing a team of engineers, and we were just work, 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 work all the time. And we have 3 boys, and we decided that we wanted to have more margin in our life and a little more balance. And so we prayed and asked, like, okay, where should we go for this, life? Or does everyone always work, 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 right? And so we put like some places on our list, and Texas was one of them. And we had friends that had moved from Silicon Valley to Austin. So we're like, okay, we're going to do Austin, and then we'll do Dallas. That's another big city in Texas. Then we'll do like Nashville. And so, anyways, we went to Austin. We're like, cool. It's so nice, but it's just like California. So no. And then we came to Dallas, and oh my goodness, everyone is so nice here. I mean, like, it was just like a blanket, it was just like, we should be here. Like, it is just so amazing. So yeah, we just ended up taking a leap of faith and leaving California and moving to a Dallas suburb. And with that, we love it here. I mean, we do have a lot more family time. But with that came the sale of our house. And so we had some capital to deploy. And we had talked to a financial advisor. And I just remember not being impressed. I was like, I feel like I could do it a little bit better than, the returns that they're talking about. So I Googled, like, how do multimillionaires become, multimillionaires. And so Google told me real estate. And so I was like, okay, I will look into real estate. And I think Google told my Facebook ad what I was Googling, because then a $17 like master class came up on my feed. And at first I was like, okay, it's a scam. Like, really, what are they going to teach me for $17? But I was like, oh, it's fine. It's $17, right? So I attended, and I remember it being like a coaching program. You know, it was like basically like a pitch for a coaching program. But they couldn't get their like stuff together. Like, I wasn't impressed with their operational side of things, but I learned a lot in that $17 class. So I decided I'll take the nuggets from the class, and I'm just going to coach myself, and I'm going to learn, you know, like through experience. So yeah, I mean, I started off with flipping, and then we got a long-term rental. We now have a couple of luxury cabins in a short-term rental market. We've done more flips and gotten into multifamily and commercial real estate, and now I have 1,800 doors and over $180 million of assets under management, and still going. Like, I still love flipping, and then now I can bring in other investors into my bigger deals. So yeah.
Wow. Kudos to you for just
Right?
like seeing where you are with your husband and your kids, and you're realizing this is not what life should be about, and then deciding to take that leap. So, talk to me about that conversation with your husband of like, did you quit your job and then y'all came to Dallas, or did you transfer? Like, what was going on right there?
Yeah, so I basically quit my job and we came, and I had like a little like side hustle that I was doing. I did some corporate gift boxes, but I decided I was going to even close that up and then just move to Texas, to Dallas, and see, you know, kind of what opportunities opened up. So completely closed one chapter and was open to another.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, okay, tell us again, where were you working at? You were working in the corporate industry. What were you doing?
So I was in executive communication. So I was basically writing all of the emails and communications for employees from high level executives. And I also did employee engagement. So, like, surveys and assessing employees and how they felt about the companies.
Wow. Okay. And so you leave there, you guys relocate, you try out Austin, you don't like Austin, then you guys move to Dallas, you fall in love with Dallas, but then did you guys do your first fix and flip in Dallas, or was that in Austin?
Yeah, no, neither. So we actually did end up buying a long-term rental in Austin because remember that friend I told you about that moved from Silicon Valley to Austin? Well, I was like, what'd you do with your money? And so he's like, oh, we bought like, you know, a house and then we rent it out. I'm like, cool. Okay, we'll start with that. And mind you, that was like a year later. Like, we sat on the money for like a year. So I was like, taking action. Okay, I'm gonna buy that house. Check. We got a renter in there. Great. And then I was like, after that $17 class, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this fix and flip thing. So I'm like, I was a little risk at first. So I'm like, where is there cheap houses? And I remember seeing one come up in Waco for like $75,000. So I'm like, cool. If I make a mistake on this, it's not gonna really like, you know, like move, like it's not gonna break us, right?
Right.
So anyways, I ended up buying, and then I was like, and plus the silos are there, Magnolia's there, like, and that's where all the HGTV, you know, the
Yep.
Joanna Gaines. I'm like, perfect. So I buy that flip. Oh my goodness, I did not even step foot in it because it was a hoarder's mess. I'll have to show you all pictures. It was crazy. And so I buy it, and then I like went on this review site and like, okay, this person looks credible. He's a roofer. I'm going to start off because it needed a new roof. But the guy ends up telling me he can do everything. Alert, alert, that was not a good idea, but I didn't know it at the time. But so he clears out the whole entire house and like basically takes it down to the studs. Then I go in and actually see it in person. So I hadn't seen it in person until then because I was not going to go through a hoarder's house. Let's just be clear about that. So then I finally get in there. I like see the vision of everything that I want changed. I hire this, you know, crookie contractor. and he doesn't know what he's doing. He takes money, doesn't do the things. He puts in crooked walls. Long story short, I got private um, a private person to go and make sure that everything was good, private inspector. And he's like, no, everything is like bad, even the roof is bad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, so now I'm like backwards on the house. I'm like, well, no matter what I do to it at this point, I'm going to be losing money. So at that point I was like, I'm going to quit because I obviously am not made out for this, And then my husband was like, no, keep going. Like, even if we lose money, it'll still be fine because you would have fished it and you would have gone through the pains and learned stuff. And I was like very thankful for him to just encourage me. So one day I was just like, how can I really be backwards on this? Like, no, I have to think of something. So anyways, my brain told me, oh, why don't you look at bigger houses? And then I ran some calculations, added square feet to the house, worked with a new contractor that I got from like the Magnolia, like a Magnolia agent. And then, and so then we moved forward and I made 70K on that first flip.
Wow. That is awesome. So despite the ups and downs, not knowing, you just kept mustering through. Your husband encouraged you through the entire time, but you were still able to make a profit, even on a small, that's a small margin of about how buy a house for 75. What did it sell for?
It sold for over 200. It was like 230 or something like that. We ended up putting over $100,000 in. And let me tell you, a lot of sweat. Even though I didn't do the work, we would drive down on the weekend, 3 kids, dog, and grandma to check in on the project. And my kids were like, do we really have to go again? I'm like, yes, we do.
Yeah.
And then we would like bribe them with like Magnolia. They have a restaurant. We're like, we're gonna go to the Magnolia restaurant. You like those pancakes, right?
You gotta bribe them.
Yeah. At the end of it, they're like, we don't want the pancakes. We just want to be home.
Yeah, that is so funny. Hilarious. That sounds like my house in my car on the weekends. Like, we got to go look at some of mommy's house, and they're like, again, right? So, but they're learning a lot. Your kids are learning a lot for sure.
Yeah,
they are. Oh, okay. So this is amazing. Okay, so you flip that house in Waco, but then it seems like you got into multifamily at some point. And so talk about that transition, not only transactionally, but like emotionally, your mindset, what shifted?
Yeah, I remember going to an event where I was at a place where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm learning how to make some cash flow off of my rental. And then I am doing like these fix and flips and it's making good money, but like I want to scale faster. Now I'm like, I want to retire my husband in 5 years. So like, how do I get there? And then we attended an event where this guy was speaking on stage. And he was saying like, if you can grasp the idea of like, when you increase a rental, right? It's like after a year lease, right? So it's just like maybe you've gained $100, $200 for one house. But if you can wrap around your mind on buying 100+ apartment community, think of like the 200 times 100 apartment units. Right. And like now I'm like, oh, I get the scaling now, but it was still very scary. So the way that we got into multifamily was through syndication. And that basically means that we entrusted our money to a team that would buy the property. They've done the analysis. They've signed their name on the loan. And now I'm giving them some capital to put into the deal, which makes me a part owner of the community, but I actually don't have control over it. So it's a passive income. So just like not having that control, that's what kind of like scared me a lot, right? And so that's a part where I had to put in my mind, that, every investment is a risk. And if I wanted to scale, then I needed to take the leap of faith. And just like I had done in my first flip and how that was scary, there was going to be more scary things that I would have to do to really scale my portfolio. And so that's how we took our first leap into multifamily. And then we were passive investors for 4 more investments in 4 different communities across the United States. And then we decided we wanted to get our friends and family involved as well. And so we became a general partner on other properties.
Wow.
That
Oh
is
my goodness.
awesome. Do you
Deborah, go
mind
ahead,
sharing
'cause
the
I'm
difference with putting capital in and then now being a general partner, what that difference looks like?
So the difference is just on like the return model. So I am also passively invested in my general partnerships as well. So it's 2 layers. One is general partners get a cut of a profit. It depends on how it's divided up. There's some deals that are 90-10. There's other deals that are 80-20. Some are 70-30. And the bigger percentage of that goes to our passive investors. And then the smaller goes to the general partners. And it's based off of responsibilities and duties. And that's how that general partnership is divided up. But mostly it was the general partnership team is an ability for you to bring in your own, investors into the deals.
Got it. I love that. And that's
Yeah.
still a great way to be passive. And then now you're bringing other people in and still, gauging the risk. But hey, more people in my circle can now do the same thing that we're doing. And we're all investing together.
Yeah, exactly. And it was so mind blowing to me to go from not knowing anything about real estate, right? And then now being in circles where I talk to even billionaires, multimillionaires, and like asking them their strategies. And you know what? They're investing in multifamily syndications with me. And then I also do triple N as well, which is a commercial property. Other types of commercial property where we put in big companies to lease buildings, but they're doing that as well. So now I'm learning firsthand from my friends and seeing what they're doing, and they are way above excelled from my portfolio. So it's just like learning as I go.
That's awesome.
Wow. That is,
Wow.
I love this because, well, Devin knows this, but Andrea, you may not. I'm in the private money space. And
Oh,
so, yeah, so pretty much, similar to you, I'm using private money, people's IRAs, people's savings accounts. Some take out home equity lines of credit. And instead of putting it all into a syndication, where I'm connecting them with other investors who can give them 12% annualized interest for like a 6-month term or like a 1-year term. But I'm just finding that it's just so much more powerful when we can come together and somebody brings the capital, somebody else brings the deal. It just creates these win-win situations every single time.
oh my gosh, it's so powerful. I mean, we've bought over $20 million apartment buildings with other investors. Like, when in our lives could we buy that on our own? Like
Right.
maybe like really down the road, you know what I mean? But like today, I can't buy a $20 million apartment building on my own. And then we just closed on a $6 million commercial property in South Lake. I couldn't buy that on my own either, And so it's just giving the ability to diversify, giving that knowledge out. A lot of people just don't know.
Yeah.
Even like the triple N was a new thing to me. I wish I would have known that, a couple of years ago. Then I could have really, strategized and diversified even more. So just sharing that knowledge is something that's a huge passion of mine.
That's
Wow.
awesome. And so tell us now, because it sounds like now you're more on the passive side, not really doing flips, but are you still doing that? What is Andrea doing right now?
Yeah, no, I love flips and no one can take that away from me. Like hear how busy I get. Oh my gosh, I love flips. So send me your deals, people.
Yeah.
I want to do more flips. And I still, actively, I'm a general partner in multifamily and triple. And also, we're acquiring a vineyard where we're putting in crops for Texas wine because there is a huge gap of grapes, Texas grapes, to meet the need of all the wine drinkers in Texas, which I think is kind of funny. So, yeah, we have a lot of things going on, but one of my priorities this year is that I launched a coaching business, an educational platform where I really want to help people see this big picture and have it be a more holistic view of real estate investing. Because I think that, some people will know about the residential side, but then they don't know anything about the commercial side, where I feel like I've explored pretty much all of it, and I can help people based on their goals and what they want to accomplish. I can help them, guide them to, oh, okay, I have been there, done that. This is what, I think, like, I'm not a financial advisor, but based on my experience, I think like this road and learning this would be awesome. So it all, and diversifying, definitely, for sure. Just knowing all of it, I think, at once is just so beneficial. Then, where I started is like doing one thing, doing another. Okay, I got to pivot. I've learned something new, wouldn't it be great to just know it all? So.
That would be great. I mean, I think that's very insightful, and it does help a lot of people because really most people don't know anything about real estate other than what they watch on HDTV.
Right.
And like that is like totally different world than the reality of dealing with contractors, dealing with the day-to-day, trying to figure out the strategy. Does the numbers make sense? It's never emotional. It's all about the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got another question because some people may be watching this right now and they may have been considering investing into a syndication. One thing that I know for sure is that when you're investing in a syndication, you probably want to vet who your operator is, the person or the body of people who's going to be operating that business. And so for somebody who is looking to invest in a syndication, where do you advise them to start? How do they go about finding out whether this operator can do what they say they can do?
Yeah, I mean, one, I would say check their backgrounds, like who do they know? Maybe you have people in common, take them out to coffee. Some syndicators actually are these companies that you really don't have that personal relationship with, but you can find, boutique syndicators that will spend the time. So me and my partner, Rachel, we have a podcast called Good Investing. And so there we talk about syndication, and we've been on air for like over a year. So somebody who wanted to learn, they can go there and get all the resources they need to. But I think if you spend time to actually get to know them, that would be huge, and ask them the hard questions. We actually do have a podcast episode about all the questions you should ask a syndicator before you invest with them.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's going to be very valuable. So can you say your podcast name one more time so the people in the back can hear you?
Yeah, it's good together. Good investing.
Good investing. Okay,
I love
awesome.
it. I love it.
Wow.
And talk to us a little bit about the syndications and your partners. What is usually that entry level that they have to bring cash to the table to be a part of this? Or what are those compliances?
Yeah, it really depends. So some deals are going to be for accredited investors and some are going to be for non-accredited. And for those listening that don't know the difference, so accredited, really quickly, is if you have a higher net worth or a higher salary. And then non-accredited is when you don't have as much, but you have a personal relationship with a person that is actually on the team, like they're your friend, or you've gone to a meetup group, but you've kept in touch and you communicate with them. You have a substantial relationship with them. So that's the difference. And then for each deal, it just depends. So there are some deals that are like, okay, you have to invest 50,000 or more. And then there's some that are like, okay, you can invest 25,000. It just depends on what the general partnership has decided for the particular deals.
Nice.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
another thing that I wanted to bring up, so for instance, let's say I did want to invest $25,000 as a non-accredited investor. Is there a possibility, and I know the answer to this, but I'd like for the people to hear it, is there a possibility that the syndicators or the operators can approach me later on and say, hey, we need a little bit more money from you?
Yeah, that is definitely a risk where that can happen. I will say out of the 1,800 doors that we have under management, there has been none to date, but the economy is getting a little bit more difficult. So we kind of are seeing, like, as a passive investor, you get monthly or quarterly reports that show you what is going on with the property. So if you kind of are seeing like a negative NOI happening, that could be because they got into some loans that were like fluctuating type loans, variable loans. And
Mhm.
so now with the interest rates higher, they might have not accounted for that. And so that's why due diligence on, the analyzing of the deal is important, and for you to have some kind of knowledge around that. But to date, nobody has asked us for more money on all of the investments that we're in. I do see that some deals are struggling, so that could be a
Mhm.
potential. And they ask for more money not because they're trying to ask for more money. I don't think that's the case, but it's
Right.
really to run the business so that they can then get to the strategy of sale. And so I will say that typically multifamily, when we invested, they were paying quarterly payouts as a distribution to us. And right now that's not the case because everyone's so conservative with the economy the way it is. They're holding back distributions. And so we're not seeing that monthly cash flow. However, the triple N deal that we have is paying distributions. So that's what I say. It's really important to know kind of what is a little bit about every kind of investment
Investment.
that you can make, because I know from experience that there are some that are going to hold off, and there are some that are, they're structured really well that they're still paying out, and they paid out month one. So there's still really good investments out there and opportunities.
I love that. I love that. So, Andrea, talk to us about women empowerment. Like, you are a trailblazer, obviously, in your family. I think all three of us are. My goal is to also retire my husband. What encouragement can you give to other women who are in this space who want to do the same thing, who just kind of feel like it might be a little bit too heavy? What can you say to encourage them?
Yeah, one, I don't think that real estate is only for the ultra rich. So that's a huge, like, mind barrier. I think that could be on us. Another one is that our husbands are the ones that control finances. I don't think that's the case. I think that women can come to the table and really help, especially if they, have more knowledge about it. They can share it with their husbands. I know my husband, he is an engineering mind. So it took a little while to get him on board. I had to give him all the data and facts and stuff, where I was like, it feels good. Let's do it. But like, if your husband is a data and facts person, then do your research and start learning more. And your contributions could change the trajectory of your family. And then I think, the other thing is that it's okay to take risks when you have the ability to do it. So I always tell people that want to get into investing, there are creative ways to get into investing, but you always want to make sure that you have, your little safety net, like a few
Mhm.
months of living expenses and all that you need, like at least a few months in your bank before you invest anything. Like, don't give me your last pennies. Don't like invest your last pennies, because that's a long term strategy. Real estate is not a get rich quick. And so make sure that you have your
Oh,
Uh-oh,
reserves,
did we
and
lose you? Oh,
then
there you go. We
we
can hear
lost you
you.
for a second.
okay, and then look to invest.
Awesome.
And
I saw.
I'll add one more thing, which is I think women, a lot of women struggle with comparison. And I will say this, I will say that every single woman is so valuable, and what you offer and your unique perspective is absolutely what the way that God has designed you. I'm checking my mic because I don't know what's going on here. Hold on.
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I would say like don't compare yourself to others. Like sure, maybe Andrea Cwik has, a larger portfolio and you're just starting out, or y'all, have gone a little bit more, into investing or whatever. Just stay in your lane and like just
Mhm.
step by step, because comparison makes you just unhappy.
Yeah, it
And
does. Yeah.
everyone has their own road.
Yeah.
I
Powerful about it when you think about it is we are all connected to so many different people, and I just feel like everyone's goal and their treasure is to inspire other people to find their lane. Like it's
That's
not
it.
about, hey, let me show I'm better than you or this. It's about, let me just show how powerful God is. Like he started me here and this is where I'm at, and that tells you if he did it for me, he's going to do it for you in your lane. So it's definitely powerful.
Yeah. And one last thing that I would like to add is it doesn't matter if somebody else is doing what it is that you want to do. If there's somebody else that's already fixing and flipping, or if there's somebody else who's also doing syndication or also raising private money, yeah, you might be giving like the same general message, but like Andrea said, you've got your own perspective. You got your own little secret sauce that nobody else is ever going to have. So there's plenty of cars and different makers of cars. And so that does not stop companies from still creating more cars. So do you, girl, because you deserve it.
Absolutely. One last question for you, Andrea. What are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now?
Yes.
Oh, that is a good question. I'm reading $100 Million Offer by Alex Hermosi.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So, like it's so funny because you talked about like everyone is their own person, and we talked about that in the coaching world. There's so many coaches out there, right? And so I've had to discover what is my unique take on coaching. And so that's what I'm trying to study on is how do I form this offer that's going to benefit my followers, that's going to benefit my community, that is not like the gurus,
Yeah.
right? Because I want to offer something unique and different. And so that's why I'm reading that book.
That is
Wow.
awesome. I think I'm going to take a page from that. I'm going to read that too. Because I'm
Yeah,
always
me
like,
too.
I have a course of teaching people, and I'm
Oh,
always like really focused on, I have to give you value. Like when you pay whatever that amount is, I have to make sure I'm being intentional with giving you value, because what would make me buy the course, you know? So
yes.
I love that. I
And I can
definitely love
tell you guys that Deva's mentorship, like her mentees get a lot, like a lot. Like she's going to your rehabs, like with you, like holding your hand along the way. Her team is helping you analyze your deals, helping you find lenders. Like what? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And you've always been the one.
We should collaborate. We should
Yes, we should.
let's do a master class together or a mastermind. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that would
Yeah.
be amazing. And Talisa, you got to come in and help us with the private lending and then with the syndication together. Could y'all imagine how powerful that would be? Oh my gosh.
Girl, you guys,
Oh my gosh.
everybody can be wealthy. Everybody can be
Everybody can be
wealthy.
well. And one thing that I always think about is just me driving to get on the highway takes me about 5 or 10 minutes. There are so many houses from my house all the way to just getting on the highway. Just imagine our entire nation. You know, there's so many houses, there's so many apartment complexes. They're constantly putting more up. There's enough for everyone to be successful in this game.
Absolutely. And we didn't even touch the surface on international either.
Right.
And we didn't even talk about the metaverse, because people are buying land in the
People are
metaverse and
buying
property in the
land.
metaverse now. That's a whole nother universe. So
Yes.
anyways.
Seriously. Oh my gosh, Andrea, this has been such an honor to have you on our podcast. Oh my gosh, so much wealth. If people want to connect with you even more, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a beginner's guide to real estate investing at investwithandrea.com. That's invest with ANDREA.com. That's my freebie for y'all. But other than that, if you wanted to set up a meeting with me, you can go to realsimplerealestategal.com. That's realsimplerealestategal.com.
I like that. Real simple.
I love it.
Very simple to understand.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time to join our podcast. It has been such a great environment having you on today.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It was such a pleasure. You have such a beautiful smile. You just like lit up our whole podcast.
Oh, it's Jesus.
you better give him the praise.
Yeah.
All right, girl. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, ladies. So fun.